Hello! Today we have this beautiful photo to work on. There's a lot to do here. There's a product being advertised, in this case lipstick. We'll pay special attention to product retouching. And there's also work to be done with the makeup. My name is Viktor Kyslyi. I'm a beauty photographer and professional retoucher. Let's get started. We begin with camera raw. I'm switching to 16-bit because there's a lot of work to do here. By default, it's already set to 16-bit. And in camera raw, I'll just see if I need to soften this photo or on the contrary, add sharpness and hardness at the start. There aren't many defects in the photo, so I won't do anything here. And I like the color because the photographer who took this photo did a good job initially, and the color is very good from the start, so I won't use additional programs and will immediately switch to Photoshop. We start with working on shadow spots using curves. We'll just make the photo look much cleaner and more pleasant. So I'll just lighten the extra spots present in my photo. There aren't many, but if we clean up a bit, it'll look a little nicer. I remind you, this is not dodge and burn. The principle is very similar to dodge and burn, but it's much simpler. We won't get very close and work on tiny details. We only work with the largest ones that catch the eye. Some recommendations. If you want your photo to be more natural and realistic, you shouldn't get too close. If you get this close, it's not very clear which shadow spots can be removed and which cannot. Therefore, it's recommended to work from a distance. This distance is more than enough for me. Great. There aren't many shadow spots here. We can look at the before and after. Before, after, and also how the photo changed in color. Before, after. Great. And after this, we immediately move on to the effects. We create a new general background layer and work with the healing brush tool. This tool is more than enough. You can see there are separate spots here, not even defects. If the photographer's lens is dirty, such spots can appear in photos. In full body or even waist up photos, it's not very noticeable, but if we have a portrait, like in this case, such spots can be distracting. Cleaning probably takes the most time in retouching. So I'll speed up a bit to not take up too much of your time. Great, let's continue working. Let's play a bit with liquify. We'll start with the face shape. I'll take the face tool and make the face a little narrower. In fact, it's not very recommended to do this in most cases, but here, since the photographer shot from below, you can see the eyes are very high up. The photographer's lens was at chin level. Because of this, the chin can visually appear larger. Retouching is needed to remove such things, not to remake the photo. And I'll also make the face a little narrower because the model is smiling here. And here, it's okay to do this. Great. Next, I'll take the warp tool and work on the makeup. Here are the eyeliner lines. I want to bring them to a more natural shape. Later, we'll still work on these lines additionally. And the same with the second line. Great. And also look, the main part of this photo is our lipstick and everything around it. The viewer will mostly look at this area, so we need to really work well with the lipstick, lips and teeth. Great. With the help of Liquify, we try to align everything as much as possible. It's not necessary to bring it to perfection here, but working on this area is essential in this case. Let's see. Before, after, before, after. Great. And we return to Photoshop. Great. Let's see what we have at the moment. Maybe I overdid it with the arrow here. I like it better on this side. But we'll fix that a little later. Now, let's work on our lipstick. Here we can just use the stamp tool. Set it to be as soft as possible. And remove this part. Great. And I also need to remove this part of the plastic. It's best to copy here and just move it down. We'll fix this a bit later using different tools. Great. I'll fix the first part. Here we'll just work a little with the healing brush, quite small. Great. And once again, just like that with the stamp, here we can make it a bit bigger. Copy it. And just draw in the part we're missing. Good. Wonderful. Let's see the before and after, before and after. Here we'll also draw in the highlight. Good. So let's clean our jar. We can copy everything to a new layer and just take the mixer brush tool. A fairly large size, and we'll just smudge our jar. We're not afraid to go over the edges here because we'll remove where we went over the edges with a mask. Great. Let's adjust the mix case a bit differently to make it harder. Just smudge our jar quite a bit. And also upwards. Good. Now on our layer we create a mask. Take a black brush and remove the excess. Where we went over the edges. Great. Here we can zoom in, switch back to white to make everything neat. Good. And the same on top. Great, and let's see how our lipstick has changed. This was before, this is after, this was before, this is after, up close, before, after. Before, after, good. So, let's continue. We still have some lipstick on the teeth here. So, again with the healing brush, we're still at the stage of defects. This stage takes the most time. So, and this is a tricky spot, so we'll probably have to... Let's try the healing brush to see how it turns out. The healing brush is very bad because of the spot. But if we take the stamp and draw a little with the stamp, it looks more natural. Good. Great. Let's move on. Next is frequency separation for working with the skin. Our task is to create a glossy effect. And just go over the skin. Don't forget, you need to go over absolutely all parts of the photo. Don't forget the hands, don't forget the neck, the body. Absolutely everywhere. If you have experience with light and shadow patterns and understand how light should be arranged, you can take mix cast and slightly move the light in the photo. Be careful, it's very easy to ruin the photo here, so if you don't have experience, it's better not to do it at all. Good. And let's see what effect we achieved with our frequency separation. This was before, this is after. From afar, it's only visible near the nose. If I zoom in, of course, the effect is slightly more noticeable. We can turn on a black and white layer for viewing. And in black and white, it will be clearly visible what has changed. Great, turn it off. And let's work a bit more with the photo. I don't like this arrow. Here I did it more or less okay, but here it doesn't look very natural. So we'll create a new overall background layer. Take the stamp and work better on our arrow with the stamp. Before, after, good. And sometimes retouchers use this technique. We can take this arrow, select it, copy, Ctrl-C, Ctrl-V, paste it in a new place.
Here it is.
Right click to flip horizontally and paste in a new place. You can lower the opacity to find the perfect spot, otherwise it might look unnatural when pasted. But this side is much lighter than this side, so we go to our layer with the cutout section, go to images, curves, and in curves, darken it so that this area doesn't differ from the existing one. Here, you need to be able to pick it precisely. Yes, that's it, I like it. Before, after. And after that also create a mask, and with a soft brush, make sure the brush is soft. Remove the excess that we drew. For example, here, there's clearly excess below. We need to remove our second highlight. And let's see what we got. Just duplicate the arrow. Maybe it's bright here.
Good.
Done. So. Good. Now our task is to play with the makeup. We can create another frequency separation, but set it up in a completely different way. Because I want to work specifically with the shadows. I need to protect the texture of the shadows, but at the same time, we need to see some part of the shadows to make them softer. Done. Our task is to soften the makeup. Of course, there's a slight hit to naturalness here, but if we correctly go over it with the light and shadow pattern afterward, darken the right places, then it will look good, in my opinion. And let's see. Before, after, and the same with the second eye. Use hotkeys, it speeds up the work. For those watching with basic Photoshop knowledge, sometimes you might not understand what I'm doing. So it's better to learn the hotkeys, then everything will be much clearer. I apply blur, but not manually. Now filter, blur, Gaussian blur, but just press the hotkey, repeat the previous filter. Great, let's see before, after, good. And I'll also take the mix brush, and just with the mix brush, on this same frequency separation, I'll lightly go over the lips to even out the color. I'll create another new background layer. I'll take the stamp tool and I'll draw the lip contour. It's difficult, but sometimes you can achieve good results. Good, and the same below. And here, on the contrary, I want to slightly reduce the contour, so I won't take the copy from the lipstick. It's easier to take from the lipstick, to be honest. But on the contrary, I want to make the contour smaller because I see it's too blended. Good, and the same on this side. And here, the secret to working with the stamp when drawing the lip contour is that you must choose the hardness of your tool as accurately as possible. There's no specific number I can tell you to set the tool hardness like this and everything will be fine. No, it won't work like that, because for each photo, depending on the size, quality and size of the object in the photo, the hardness will be different, and you need to practice and learn to select manually for each photo individually. Okay? Let's see what we got. Super! And work with the light and shadow pattern. Create 2 curve layers. 1. Darken, with which I will draw the shadow on the photo. The second, lighten, with which I will enhance the highlights. Take a regular brush, set the brush so that it's neat and even, and start drawing. Also, as a recommendation, draw while looking at the photo from afar. This way it will look more natural and quick. We've already spent quite a lot of time on this photo. Probably 30 minutes, because this photo has a very large number of small details. We separately cleaned the makeup, separately worked with the teeth, separately worked with the lips, separately worked with the lipstick, and all this takes a lot of time. But it's cool if you, as retouchers, have such photos in your portfolio. It attracts more commercial clients, not just people who want to edit 1, 2, 3 photos for themselves, but, for example, working with makeup artists who might have volumes. And it's perfect, of course, when you start working with some cosmetic brands. It's always a much higher level. Okay, before and after. And we'll work a little on the small details. Make the lips fuller, but don't overdo it again. The lips are the main part of this photo. This is where people will look the most. So try to play around more naturally. I'll brighten the eyes. In this case, it's possible. I'll take the shadow and darken the lash line. And the upper one. And the lower one. You can even make the brush paint more intensely.
Good.
Before and after. And let's see what we have at the moment.
Good.
And we can work with color. First, in my opinion, this purple really bothers us, so I'll go into hue saturation. I'll go into magenta and just darken the magenta. We don't need magenta at all. Let it be black, it's better in this case. I'll play around with the color of the photo in general through selective color. I'll make it warmer, add a little yellow, and add a little magenta. This is the saturation enhancement, which I use the most. And a little blue, excellent. We'll enhance the skin texture through channel mixer. This probably won't be very good for the lipstick and the eyes, the makeup, so we'll remove this effect through a mask from the lips for sure, right at 100%. The main thing is that the brush is soft so that the transition is not visible. Here we'll remove it, here we'll remove it from the nails. And by the way, you can softly remove it from the eyes. It looks more or less normal. So.
Good.
And still too much, so I lower the opacity to 50.
Good.
So, in my opinion, that's enough. I won't change everything too much here. I don't want it to look somehow overly retouched, so this is enough for me. Of course, you can work much more seriously. You can work much harder on the makeup, draw the eyelashes, draw the eyeliner, but what I wanted to show in this video is all there. Excellent. Thank you all very much for watching. The photo is taken from the course, The Architecture of Retouching. This is one of the photos that goes into the retoucher's portfolio. I would appreciate comments and likes. Be sure to subscribe. And now I'm gathering topics for future video lessons. You can also write in the comments or directly to me what topic you would like me to cover in more detail. Let's look at the before and after. Thank you all very much.